Welcome to A Moment of Zen. Time to sit back and relax as model, actress, mentor, and supermom Zen Sams takes you on a sexy and wild ride, covering the latest in film, fashion, pop culture, cryptocurrency, fintech, cannabis, and entertainment from the millennial mom's perspective. Here's your host, Zen Sams.
Hello, my beautiful friends and loyal listeners. It's always such a pleasure to spend my time with you on the airwaves. Thank you so much for listening and interacting with me on social media. Guys, I read everything. That truly does make it all worthwhile. Please make sure to follow me at Zen Sams. That's Zen with an X, not a Z. And also remember that we're now live on Traverse TV, Sundays at 1 p.m. Eastern, YouTube, Sundays at 2 p.m. Eastern. And now all episodes of A Moment of Zen are now available on Kathy Ireland's 24/7 streaming platform, Your Home TV. We have such a great show lined up for you today. In our entertainment and pop culture segment brought to you by ogpay.com, we're featuring the amazing Lexi Pantera. She otherwise goes by Virgin Lex. She is a larger-than-life online personality with a loyal fan base of over 9 million followers. She is a pop culture phenomenon. Today, we're chatting about how social media affects the music industry, her new single, Simple Life, and her plans for 2023. In our influencer segment brought to you by Revere Securities, we are featuring Tony Schiena. His name is synonymous with the intelligence sector, counterterrorism, and counter-human trafficking. He runs the majority of his operations out of his company, MOSAIC. Today, we're chatting about the Balenciaga scandal and controversy, child pornography at the heart of it all, how this even happened, and the uproar amongst concerned parents, celebrities, and Balenciaga's very own famous brand ambassadors. In Hello Open Metaverse by Animoca Brands, we're chatting with Anthony Day, blockchain expert, keynote speaker, and host of the Blockchain Won't Save the World podcast. Today, we're chatting about how to make Web3 a safer place and the perfect holiday gift guide for your Web3 crazed loved ones. In our newest segment called Travel Treasures, brought to you by Navi, we are featuring the stunning Leanne Locken. She's an international television host. She's an actress, a reality TV star. Today, we're chatting about the best places to explore in 2023, what makes her a travel expert, how she chooses her destination, and her travel plans for 2023. Stay tuned for our influencer segment brought to you by Revere Securities, featuring my good friend, the amazing Tony Schiena, chatting boycotting Balenciaga, the scandal, and child pornography at the heart of it all. Simply disgusting. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Revere Securities. Revere is committed to building a relationship of trust in which they work closely with you to help you define your objectives, explore alternatives, and choose the financial and investment strategies that are most appropriate for you. Go to reveresecurities.com.
Welcome back, my beautiful friends. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Up in just a few minutes in our influencer segment brought to you by Revere Securities, we're featuring my good friend, Tony Schiena. His name is synonymous with the intelligence sector, counter-terrorism, and counter-human trafficking. He runs the majority of his operations out of his company, MOSAIC, which is Multi-Operational Security Agency Intelligence Company. Also widely regarded as one of the world's leading crisis management firms. He's also the founder, more importantly, of humanslavery.com. Today, we're chatting about the Balenciaga scandal and controversy, child pornography at the heart of it all, how this even happened, and the uproar amongst concerned parents, celebrities, and even Balenciaga's very own famous brand ambassadors. Now, the esteemed Spanish fashion house has been slammed, and I mean slammed, for putting out images of young kids holding teddy bears wearing kinky bondage gear. To make matters worse, these odd pictures are featured in its Christmas advertising campaign. They show sad-eyed toddlers holding teddies that are dolled up in fishnet tops, lock and key collars, and wrist restraints. Now, normally, you'd have to go to some dingy nightclub in New York City's Alphabet City. Now, Balenciaga is putting it on fluffy bears and giving those bears to actual children. In one of the ads, it's the designer's gift collection campaign. children are posing with the brand's teddy bear purses, which critics pointed out appear to be wearing BDSM and bondage-inspired accessories. The second ad under scrutiny is Balenciaga's Spring 2023 campaign, and it's being criticized for its use of a printout of a Supreme Court decision on child pornography. Now, in the post, Balenciaga wrote, "We strongly condemn child abuse. It was never our intent to include it in any of our narrative." So what went wrong? Here to chat boycotting Balenciaga and the ripple effect this has had on child trafficking and pornography is my dear friend, Tony Schiena. Welcome to the show, superstar.
Thank you so much. It's great to be back on your show.
Tony, what is your reaction to all of this? My stomach is just turned upside down as a mom.
Yeah. No, it's shocking. I mean, I'm still trying to make sense of how a luxury brand has the audacity to put out a campaign like that. Inexcusable. You know, it's taken them a while to come out with a statement and try to seem accountable, you know, as well as celebrities who are attached to that brand. And that's what I find, just purely because of public pressure, that they have to make a statement. Whether that's coming from a real place, I doubt it. You know, I doubt it. And
so do you feel that this was all intentional? Like, I mean, if now listen, so Balenciaga is suing the production company behind the Spring 2023 ad campaign after this paperwork about the Supreme Court ruling on child pornography was identified in one of the images, right? So they're seeking at least 25 million in damages from the post-production company, North 6, and the set designer, Nicolas Desjardins, and Balenciaga hired them to develop and produce the Spring 2023 campaign, according to the court summons. What do you say to this lawsuit that they're suing now? They're pointing the finger.
Pure deflection. That's what it is. Now, I have a lot of, you know, good friends, and I'm sure you do, in the fashion industry. And, you know, I happened to be with them when I saw this campaign while I was in Mexico City. And we had a very fiery discussion about it. And every one of them who's senior executive level in various brands, global brands based out of New York City, assured me that the decision process reaches the top. At the very least, the CMO, the chief marketing officer, design, legal, etc., even potentially the CEO. Now, for them to deflect by suing the production company is pathetic. And I think the public is not as stupid as they think they are. You know, we have the internet, we can research, we can understand, we can ask people. And that's not how the approval process works. So it's pure deflection.
Pure deflection. And now let's chat how significant this paper prop at the heart of the lawsuit and in the ad campaign truly is. So first off, the court document claims Balenciaga had no knowledge and didn't authorize the inclusion of a paper from an actual Supreme Court ruling, Tony, in the United States that struck down a section of the Child Pornography Protection Act and ruled that fake child porn is protected speech. Like, what? So Balenciaga said that all the items included in this particular shooting were provided by third parties that confirmed in writing that these props were fake office documents, but they turned out to be real legal papers. So who is to blame? And I can't help but smell fish in the water here. What are your thoughts?
Well, firstly, the fact that that's even in that scene, like, connect the dots. That's why, right? You're seeing, you know, seemingly office setting. You're seeing that book had Michael Borman's book was in that scene, right? If you open that book, it's the most disturbing images you've ever seen. The other scene being, you know, the young girl with the teddy bear and the bondage harness. These are separate campaigns. It's the spring collection, it's the gift collection, but it's the same underlying messages that they're sending. And the fact that they think they can normalize the sexualization of children, normalize pedophilia, is absolutely disgusting. I can't even begin to understand who okayed this, who greenlit this. And that's the fundamental problem. They're obfuscating, they're deflecting using lawsuits against production companies, but there is an approval process. Who approved these images? Who approved this campaign? And that's what needs to be revealed. We need to know those names, and those individuals or that group or that department needs to be held accountable. And accountability, at the very least, is removal of their positions, at the very least.
At the very least. And what about the parents that allowed these children to be in these photos? I mean, I'm a momager. My child is a model and an actor. She's in huge movies, and we take her to photo shoots and film sets all the time. If I was witnessing this very photo shoot take place, I would have had what to say about it, let alone extract her from the job. Now, the photographer, Gabriele Galimberti, told CNN in a statement last week that the direction and shooting of the campaign featuring the teddy bears were out of his hands. Now, what we're talking about is the second campaign that's featuring children cuddling teddy bears dressed in fetish clothing. Okay, so this is quite disturbing. It seems like everyone is pointing the finger here. It seems like there's a theme forming. Is there a bigger picture we're missing, Tony? Should we be concerned? And are we witnessing the rise of pedo chic?
It's almost indicative of a degradation of society, right? To have the audacity to put out a campaign like that. I think with social media, with podcasts like yourself, the public is starting to realize that and fight back. And they can research for themselves. They can go back and look at Balenciaga's campaigns. Look who else was involved. What was the theme? There's a real issue internally with Balenciaga if you look at their past campaigns and that through line. I think this is where the public needs to stay responsible and hold them accountable. Everyone with children or without children, it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
We have to protect our society. That smut cannot be.
And put an end to what you just said. We should not be sexualizing children. This is the rise of what they call pedo chic, and adults need to stop dragging kids into their sexual fantasies. This is completely crazy. One of the wackier outskirts of identity politics, sympathetic talk of minor attracted persons, Tony, is becoming more and more widespread. Even USA Today, this is disgusting. They published a report on the complicated research behind pedophilia. And what if minor attraction is just another sexual identity that people are born with? The paper pondered these thoughts. It cited experts who believe we should talk about destigmatizing pedophilia. What do you say to this? I'm horrified.
It's horrific. The normalization of sexualizing children and pedophilia is unfathomable. Even that coming out of our mouths, that this is even being discussed as a probability, is frightening. I mentioned I was in Mexico City, for a few days, and whenever I'm there, I'll go to a shelter. It's a secret shelter for rescued girls from human trafficking, and a separate shelter for boys. And whenever I'm there, I visit them, run by amazing people, creating this beautiful family atmosphere for completely destroyed children who can never really recover from what they went through. One girl arrived there at 14, pregnant from a narcos, raping her. That child is born in the shelter and taken care of in that shelter, where she wasn't there when I was present, but they said she's like the light of the house. And that's because of the shelter. And this was maybe 5 days ago, just the day before this campaign came out. And what was very interesting, you walk in a room, bunch of single beds where the girls sleep. Each one of them was adorned with teddy bears, 5, 10 teddy bears. For them, it's like a symbol, a comfort. And then the very next day, I witnessed this at a dinner. I look at my phone and I see this, and developed in a very heated discussion. And I happen to be with senior fashion people, very senior, and they all assured me that the approval process goes all the way up. So this deflecting should not be allowed. The public should not allow this. They have to be held accountable.
We have to do something about it. You're right. And you know how, think of this, right? So Balenciaga, let me think about this. You know how it is. You take a few photos to promote your products, and darn, you accidentally include children with pervert teddy bears in a nod to a ruling that dismantled part of the child porn law. Yeah, that could happen to anybody. But look, what?
Yeah, the child porn law, I'm a little... I'm not sure about that exactly. The way I see it, it was a law that basically stated that child porn, promoting child porn, is not freedom of speech. That is illegal.
Correct.
The way
The New
I read
York
it.
Times published that article. There was another
Right.
article that made reference to a different Supreme Court ruling that was also documented. I think it was documented on Revolve. But regardless, listen, Tony,
Regardless.
at the end of the day, this needs an explanation. To your point, it cannot be a coincidence that an ad campaign with very young children holding sex teddies also makes a sly reference to a court ruling, whatever that court ruling was, that said, you know, not all sexualized depictions of kids should be illegal, or in the reverse, but still making a reference to a Supreme Court ruling. Yeah. Someone involved in this, whether someone at Balenciaga or someone in the set design or photography teams that they hired for this campaign, they knew what they were doing. I'm sorry. Connect the dots.
It's ridiculous. When you go further back, and I need to do my research first, but things I'm reading, previous, you know, creative directors or those responsible for that sort of set design and dressing. One Lola Volkova, I think. I just received something about it. I need to validate it, but you know, there are articles out there already about it where they're showing images of what's on her Instagram, and it's sadistic, satanistic images on there, and again, using children. And and of course, I need to verify it. I haven't, but if that's true, it just shows you it's an endemic problem. Like, this is in the fabric of Balenciaga, and I think it warrants further investigation. But whether it needs investigation, but just on the facts we have right now, that they wanted to put this campaign out is enough. This is where we should draw the lines in. Like, we can't have next week this disappear in the, you know, mirage of bad news that's always out there. Like, this
no, they need to be canceled. They need to be canceled.
On the forefront. Absolutely. And anyone going in and shopping from them should really, you know, anyone in your circle at least should, you know, be looked at in a different manner.
Oh, I'm sure. Listen, Balenciaga is a fashion powerhouse. It's loved by the Kardashians. It's all over red carpets, and yet its famous attention to detail appears to have escaped it when it was shown an image of a kid on a couch being gawked at by a fluffy blue bear in an outfit straight out of a pseudo chic movie set. It's one of those worrying trends of our time that we seem to be witnessing at an alarming rate. Surge in pedophilia and, you know, pedophilic sensibility. It needs to stop. I'm livid. I'm mad.
Realize,
I never get this mad.
No, but it's justifiable, because it's that shocking. And when I first came on the fight, you know, I visited ICAC headquarters in Virginia, run by, you know, Sheriff Mike Brown, was one of the founders of it, and ICAC's Internet Crimes Against Children. And what Sheriff Mike Brown used to say, I'm gonna enrage and engage you, and they stopped doing it because it was that shocking. The images I saw on the dark web, I still can't get them out of my head.
Oh, Tony,
you know,
I'm sorry.
I've witnessed them take the diaper off a baby. Those
sorry.
sounds will never leave you.
Yeah, never.
Etc. etc. And this was 15 years ago. You know, and it hasn't diminished. In fact, it's increased.
It's increased. We're seeing this
campaign.
And we're seeing in the campaign, you're right, and we're witnessing with our very eyes a surge in justifying this pedophilic sensibility, and this, you know, this is demystifying the stigma behind pedophilia. This is completely horrid. I can't. We have come to an end of the segment, my darling. Thank you so much for piping in. It's been a very rewarding segment because I got to vent.
Good. Let's not let them get away with it, Sam.
We're not.
The pressure has to continue.
We will. We'll continue to put the pressure on. Thank you so much, Tony. It was a pleasure chatting with you. Absolutely. You definitely have to check out my dear friend. Head to MOSAIC, SEC.com. But more importantly, check out their website, humanslavery.com. That's humanslavery.com. And please help support them. Give to the foundation. They are changing lives and really getting help for the multiple women and children out there that are being highly trafficked during these crazy times that we live in. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. That was our influencer segment brought to you by Revere Securities. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Caldwell Soames Incorporated, investing globally in transformative businesses like Original Digital Corporation, or ODC. ODC develops advanced consumer and commercial fintech solutions such as OG Pay, which will transform the way you manage your money. From sending and receiving money globally for free, paying for goods and services in person and online, pay bills, buy and sell digital currencies, all while earning interest. OG Pay is easy to set up, FDIC insured, and your information is secured. Check out ogpay.com.
Welcome back, my beautiful friends. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Up next in our entertainment and pop culture segment brought to you by ogpay.com, we're featuring the amazing Lexi Pantera. She otherwise goes by Virgin Lex. She's a larger-than-life online personality with a loyal fan base of over 9 million followers. She is a pop culture phenomenon of sorts, with her singles Where Do You Go and More Than You landing on Billboard charts. Her newest single is called Simple Life. As an international artist, she has collaborated with powerhouses for the likes of DJ Snake, Major Lazer, Marshmello, and Lil Yachty. Today, we're chatting about how social media affects the music industry, her new single, and her plans for 2023. Now, the past decade has revolutionized every aspect of the global music industry. The performers began to communicate with their fans in a very different way. And over the years, we have seen artists utilize platforms like Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook to generate movement in their careers. Social media continues to give musicians the opportunities they previously could only have through record companies. In the past, musicians would need to do things like record demos and distribute them to fans. They needed to bargain for the time in the studio. If there were live shows at local venues, acts would need to find an opportunity to play. All of these efforts were in the hopes that enough fans or an A&R rep from a label would help them get more involved in the industry. The rise of the internet and social media platforms was a game-changing moment. Many of the same tactics, like playing live, recording and distributing music, and seeking label attention, still remain the same. However, social media evens the playing field and empowers artists like never before. Here today to chat influencers, music, career, and love is the beautiful Lexi Pantera. Welcome to the show, Stunner.
Hi, thank you, girl. Thanks, Zen. Thanks for having me. I'm happy I'm here.
Oh, I'm so
happy. And I'm happy this is the conversation.
Yes, because this is so fitting for you, because you are everything that we just talked about in that intro. So congrats on all your success and on all the followers. I mean, making it in the music industry is tough enough, but you have also amassed your own fan base and are a social media influencer with over 2.8 million followers on Instagram alone. Lexi, tell me, how did you get started, number one? Number two, how did social media propel you? And number three, what was your I made it moment and then never looked back?
Oh, wow. I mean, I've been a singer my whole life. That's what I wanted to do since the womb. So I've been a musician, and just what came with it was dancing, singing, acting, you know, the whole thing. And so I started in a girl group, and then I went solo, and I've just been grinding it out as an independent artist, you know, and living in Los Angeles most of my life, and from Sacramento when I was younger. And, you know, I did some videos dancing and they went viral, and I took that opportunity to create a twerkout class in 2014. I took that opportunity to take my music and do my viral videos to that, as well as blowing up other songs, you know, from other artists like DJ Snake and Major Lazer. It got me to collaborate with people like Marshmello and other big artists, which has been amazing. My turnaround, like, oh, don't look back. You know, I don't know. I'm not sure like when that moment exactly is or was, but like I'm just passionate and motivated. So no matter what, I'm just going forward. You know what I'm saying? There's always going to be that like keep going movement. I'm not looking back. I'm always going forward. And like, what's next? What's next? You know, it's always music for me. It's always going to be in the art space. So
yeah, for sure. I mean, listen, you went where there was no path and left a trail. You have paved your own way. You are quite controversial. Yes, you are quite controversial, and you are often caught twerking and flirting with your audience. What are your thoughts on connecting with fans over social media, pushing the needle and the boundaries, but being a role model still for your generation?
I just think being yourself is a big role model, you know, like really being confident in who you are and being a good person. So I hope that I can try to bring that out of people, that they see the realness in me, that they can be real themselves.
That
Yeah, you know.
you shine a lot of light. For those of us listening who haven't seen her yet, I urge you to definitely check out the interview tomorrow on our OTT and OTA platforms.
Yes.
Talk to me about
Yay.
your single, Simple Life, and the
Ow.
inspiration behind it.
'Cause I don't want the simple life. It's the fine things I like. I want my champagne all night with you. If you're feeling lucky tonight, better keep my fingers on ice. And if I want, I just might take you.
Oh, simple life. I just want the simple life. It's the fun things I like. I feel like we all want the simple things, you know, like driving down with our top down with the wind in our hair, like by the ocean, chilling. But like you have to work really hard to do that for some reason. Like you have to work really hard just to do nothing. So I feel like it's kind of like that's what the song is about, but also showing off as a woman. Like I got my own shit, you know, I got my own stuff and I can take care of a man too if I want, you know, it's not always the opposite flip side or whatever. So it's kind of about that a little bit.
I think so too. That's
Yeah.
amazing. Now, talk to me about how social media has played a huge part in your career.
Sheesh, it's been the biggest part of my career, I feel. You know, the fact that we can blow up and go just socially viral is insane. We all have our own platforms now. We don't really need other people's platforms like the labels situation, you know. But it's kind of it's great to work all these platforms and go viral and all these things, but like there's obviously a lot of work that backs it up and you have to keep being consistent. And it takes a lot of money still. It's still a little bit of a struggle. Not a little bit. It's a lot of a struggle, especially to be an artist because you know, it just takes a lot of money and sometimes the labels come in and they help with that if you don't have any other side hustles or work ethic or whatever it is, you know. So you know, labels they still have their like thing over artists and there's a lot of things that independent artists can't do, you know, and we're just fighting our way through.
But you are doing a great job and using social
Thank you.
media to supplement income and even being an influencer with some of the endorsement deals. I mean, that's pretty inspirational. If you don't have an agent, I can't imagine you don't, but we know some amazing ones that would line up to sign you. Now, who's the biggest artist you have worked with?
Ooh, the biggest artist I've worked with, like song wise, I don't know. I feel like I've worked with a lot of artists in different ways, like musically and dance wise and teaching stuff like that. Like I've had like Mel B from the Spice Girls, which is insane. I have Karrueche Tran. I even taught Snoop Dogg, which was hilarious. Marshmallow was a really great collaboration. Me and him got in the studio. A lot of good producers that are really well known and up and coming. Yeah, it's just to name a few.
You are the cutest.
I would love to collaborate though more on music, like feature wise. Like this year I'm opening to like I want to be on someone's record or I want them to be on my record. So that's like kind of what I'm focused on because I've been really a lone wolf and like you said, like kind of doing my own path and like but now I'm really trying to like I want to be friends with artists too, like and not
for
just
sure
be in my own world.
now, what is your advice to your younger self and to aspiring music artists out there?
Yeah. Ooh. Start saving up, baby. Start working hard. And I would say, you know, you really got to love it because the industry is not everything you think it is. And so as long as you're passionate and happy about it, keep doing it and learn every single little thing you need to know in your business, like from artist to producer to who mixes to engineers, like to marketing. It is a crazy world out here as an independent or as an artist in general. And you got to really
know who the people are.
You got to learn everything. Like if you work at McDonald's, you got to learn how to make the burgers, to cleaning the floors, to managing. Like you got to do that when you're a musician as well.
Without a doubt. Now
you got to wear all of the hats, basically.
Sometimes you're preaching to the choir. This is exactly what I feel, even for my industry. Even if you want to be a host of a show,
any industry, right? You got to know it from top to bottom. So that's that's my advice.
Now, who inspired your career?
Damn, you know, I have been my own inspo. I don't know. There's just a drive in me. It's been going. There's really not one specific like icon or anything.
Yeah. Okay.
I have this fire in me. You know what I'm saying? But I love like Rihanna. I have my favorite artists like Celine Dion and Mariah Carey, older ballad singers. Those are my favorites. So those women I looked up to in the industry.
They're queens. They are queens. Now,
Yeah.
what advice do you have to women who have been hurt by a cheating man?
Oh, this question, I have no answer, y'all. I have no answer. Listen to my music, and I hope you get over it.
That's your answer. That's your answer.
There's no other answer. I make music because of my heartbreak, because men are just heartbreaking.
But you do have a song that speaks to this.
I have a lot of records that speak to this. Okay, go on that Spotify account, and I have a lot of records coming out. I have a project coming out, and it's really based around some crazy heartbreak, and
so
and sometimes it takes records to get over it.
For 2020, you're right. I couldn't agree.
You got to feel like a bad bee. You know what I'm saying? So I make songs that help you go through it, and then make you feel like I don't need him.
I love it. I love it, and I love you. What are your goals for 2023?
Ooh, I want to tour. So I would love to do some sort of tour, and like I said, collaboration. I really want to collaborate more with artists. So that's kind of my little mini version here. And I want to buy a house. So there's that.
Oh, okay. Well, those are great things to look forward to. Now, how do you feel about gender inequality in the music industry? Has it affected you? How does being a sex symbol add to the dynamic of your career?
It is hard being a woman in the industry, because yes, a lot of people do want to get with you. A lot of people do flirt with you. You got to learn your boundaries and how to come off as a powerful woman. And that's not really, I'm not doing that. I'm not about that. I'm about my business, which makes us a little bit more hard as women. It's definitely male dominated. And my goal is to tour, like I said, tour this year and put together a really sick, sexy, confident, and powerful, impactful woman concert vibe tour. So yeah, I'm happy you brought that up, because I feel like we definitely need more women in this space. It's crazily ran by men.
I couldn't agree more. So power to the women, power to the trailblazers.
Power to the women. I mean, equality all around. And that's what we hope for.
That's definitely. Well, listen, we are out of time, but I just want to thank you for coming on. It was so fun chatting with you. You are definitely an old soul. Your aura is amazing. You are super talented. Can't wait to see you accepting a Grammy one day.
Oh, you're really sweet. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. And thank you for having me. Congratulations on your show. And the single Simple Life is out, so go stream it up, baby.
We definitely will.
And check out the video.
Yes. All right, guys, you definitely have to check out Lexi Pantera. She's all over the gram. Lexi with a Y, Pantera, 2 R's. You can go to @official Lexi Pantera. She's on Twitter, YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify. She even has an OnlyFans account, but it's quite censored, or not. Definitely have to check out all her amazing music. What a great interview. That was our entertainment and pop culture segment, brought to you by OGPay.com. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Animoca Brands. As a worldwide industry leader in digital, entertainment, blockchain, gamifications, and digital property rights, Animoca Brands plays a key role in the future growth of the metaverse. Ranked by the Financial Times as a high-growth company, Animoca Brands creates a new asset class, GameFi economies, and a more equitable digital framework contributing to the building of the open metaverse. For more information and to become part of the excitement, go to AnimocaBrands.com. That's AnimocaBrands.com.
Welcome back, my beautiful friends. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. Today, in Hello Open Metaverse, brought to you by Animoca Brands, we are chatting with Anthony Day. His career spans over 20 years in strategy, technology, and innovation with the likes of Monitor, Deloitte, IBM, and Polkadot, working across multiple aspects of blockchain and Web3 technologies since 2016. Anthony helps large organizations and startups harness the benefit of using decentralized technologies to create commercially viable businesses and digital transformations. He's also the host of the Blockchain Won't Save the World podcast, bringing hype-free objective analysis into the history and trajectory of blockchain and Web3. Today, we're chatting about how to make Web 3.0 a safer place, the perfect holiday gift guide for you Web3 crazed loved ones. Now, listen, all gifts aren't created equal, especially when it comes to blessing your gamer crypto crazed friends. But what presents say I love you and I don't think Web3 is a complete scam? Web3, the world of blockchain, non-fungible tokens, and cryptocurrencies, is devilishly difficult to use for a product designed to democratize everything from investing to activism to art. Purchasing Bitcoin or Ethereum is as simple as opening an account with one of the numerous recognized exchanges and attaching it to a credit card or source of funds. Initially, the problem with crypto was that it could not be used on anything except illegal activity on the web, especially the dark web. All of that changed with the rise of NFTs and decentralized autonomous organizations, what we call DAOs, which now enable users to purchase digital art, invest in musicians in exchange for a portion of their royalties, or join clubs that grant access to IRL activities, IRL meaning in real life activities, such as concerts or networking events. However, taking part in these initiatives or working inside Web3 in general necessitates the ability to comprehend and act on smart contracts written in code, frequently in seconds. It's complicated stuff. And here to simplify things and chat making Web3 a safer place and holiday ideas for your crypto enthusiast friends is the amazing Anthony Day. Welcome to the show, superstar.
Hey, Zan. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for the warm welcome. Thank you for probably the longest introduction of all time. I really need to shorten that. I'm so sorry for forcing you to go all the way through that, but I'm really delighted to be here, and thank you so much again.
No problem. You are so fun. All right, let's start with making Web3 safer for all users, Anthony. So it might take days to learn how to invest early in an NFT that piques your interest or claim a reward for your contribution to someone else's project. And the difficulty is that some NFT initiatives don't have a website, so you must rely on Twitter to find out what's being given and how to acquire it. There might be several sets of instructions made more confusing by inconsistent advice from users on Discord, which is the majority site for Web3 discussions. And some of the advice is well-intended, right? But it's inaccurate, while other advice is totally malicious. So where do we even start at making Web3 a safer place? Talk to me about solutions that could lead to a safer Web3 experience per se.
Yeah, it's a really important one here. And I think Web3 has kind of taken the level of general literacy required from the average everyday person up a notch. Right? When we surf the internet today, we already have enough of a struggle of managing with the user experience or remembering our passwords and so on and so forth. But I think there's kind of four key tenets, and you've described many of them in the introduction there. Is you have technical literacy, right? Your ability to engage with Web3 applications, whether it involves tokens or crypto or NFTs, tokens, tickets, whatever that might be. You have to be able to have a wallet that holds them. You have to be able to manage the keys that look after them. And you have to be able to sign on or activate that wallet across the various different properties where you're going to interact. So you've got technical literacy to start with. Financial literacy. Now, not everything about Web3 is about investing. I think we've had a risk, or there is a risk, that we over-financialize everything related to the next generation of the web. It's not all about assets all of the time. Sometimes it's about identity. Sometimes it's about privacy. Sometimes it's about just participation, but in an anonymous way. So it doesn't always have to be about, I buy something, the price goes up. But a lot of times you are taking hold of cryptocurrencies that may go up or down in value. So financial literacy is important. You mentioned it, right? Where you get your information from. Unfortunately, a lot of it is fast-paced. A lot of it is informal communication rather than formal communication. The trustless web is very much about not having a centralized place where everything happens all the time, because that's against the ethos of what's being built in Web3. So then you need to have a level of social media literacy to be able to understand what's legitimate, what's not, who is objective, who's not. The second somebody mentions Web3 and then starts with the name of one token or another, chances are you can assess that they're not being objective, because they may be holding that token and they want to promote it to you.
Without a doubt.
So understanding their rationale, their motivations, and the motivations of others where you're getting information or knowledge from is super, super hard. And there's one last one, and I'm going to jump in and then over to you, Zen, because that's our framework for how do we fix this, is security literacy. Right? We've seen and we've heard about hacks. Generally speaking, blockchains themselves, the underlying infrastructure has not been hacked, but the interfaces, the wallets, bridges, exchanges have all had some degree of nefarious
Feudalism,
activity.
yes.
Yeah. And so how do we protect ourselves and our keys and our tokens and our wallets from those sorts of hacks and also social engineering, right? You've got 4 tiers of knowledge that somebody needs to have to feel comfortable in space, and that's not easy.
It's not easy, but it's quite basic. And yes, the fact is that most cryptocurrency fans desire more precaution against scammers. So we definitely have to create a more complete user experience. And the fact that most consumers can't understand the complicated language and terminology is evident. And it's an evident barrier to adoption and a simple opportunity to be deceived at this point. So, the NFT sector is decentralized, and self-custody is a key component of Web3. And this is a significant departure, Anthony, from Web 2.0. Educational tools and edutainment like this show are going to allow for the safer integration of new people into the space. And Web3 might become the next paradigm, but only if the community tackles the usability and security issues that now are plaguing this arena. So yes, to your point. Now let's go back. Security is extremely important here. It stands as one of the most crucial features as in Web3 powered world. Tools and applications hosted over the blockchains go mainstream. So over 6 months of the bear market, coupled with countless hacks, it's forced crypto investors to realign their investments with ecosystems that reflect safety. And as a result, Web3 entrepreneurs are expected to make, to take measures into their own hands that ensure the long-term success of what they are offering. What are some of the safer blockchain ecosystems, Anthony, to your recommendation, Animoca Brands being the mother of all? Talk to me about these.
Yeah, I know Animoca is sponsoring the show, so we had to get that one in there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try and kind of display or kind of go through the things that I believe a secure ecosystem represents, right? And there's also there's multiple levels to this. So you've got the blockchain itself, right? How likely is any of the information or the data that sits on that blockchain, your holdings or which tokens you own, the database of wallet addresses, number of tokens. In most cases, it's that simple. Smart contracts is a layer on top of that. But the more decentralized, typically, the more secure. So the more nodes that are hosting the network, the more validators that are collating transactions and processing them to make sure that there's no nefarious action, typically the better. If you have a small number of nodes and a small number of validators, that means that it's theoretically easier to hack. So when you've seen a number of bridges, which is a way to move tokens between one blockchain and another, those bridges are often hacked by social engineering attacks, or in some cases by governance attacks, where actually people can accrue enough tokens to be able to represent a significant or more than 50% of a vote in some cases. Yeah. That's very, very hard to do where you've got thousands of validators, thousands of nodes. Where you've got 11 or 12, different story. So at the infrastructure level, at the blockchain level, decentralization does matter for security. When you're then getting to smart contracts, right? Smart contracts are that's the automation behind the applications that you run. Right? So when you're swapping tokens, or when you're playing a game, or when a particular application is minting NFTs, it's quite difficult for the average user to assess: is this smart contract buggy? Is there something in the smart contract that might drain my wallet, or that might result in value moving to a nefarious actor at some point? It's really hard to tell. It's like saying, could you or I debug the code behind whatever web streaming platform we're using? Or could we debug the code behind Twitter or the Twitter algorithm? Probably not, right? So in that case, we have to rely on others. And in a decentralized world, who's auditing that these smart contracts are correct? Who's going to put their reputation on the line to say, there is no bugs here, there's nothing bad going to happen? And then if something does happen, who's liable? Yeah. And so I think in the next few years, we're going to see an increasing amount of what I would call decentralized insurance propositions, which is you can secure an amount of value in a smart contract or in an application, and that application will also hold funds in an insurance pot that, in the same way as traditional insurance companies do, that money might be invested. And also we want to make sure that's audited so nothing dodgy is happening, FTX style. But you're seeing that there are insurance protocols underlying dApps, or even for layer 1 or layer 2 protocols, so that in the event that something goes wrong, there is coverage. And that's what happens in Web 2.
Yep. So I want to be mindful of the time. We have about 4 minutes left before the segment is over. So let's move on to what presents say I love you. And I don't think Web3 is a complete scam. So let's start with a couple of old faithfuls. First up is Bitcoin. I know, people are thinking, what, people are still buying that? Yes, it's a classic yet thoughtful gift to provide your partner. It allows them to buy, the items that they're passionate about in the Web3 space. It's, it's the gift card of Web3, and it's super simple to purchase. What do you say to this? And do you have alternative recommendations, that you could suggest better than Bitcoin?
Yeah, so buying crypto is a little bit like buying stocks for Christmas, right? So it gives you an opportunity to engage with crypto. It gives you a token that you can hold. It almost is a forcing mechanism to say, well, how does this work? What do I do with it? Where can I spend it? And that will give somebody an opportunity to go a bit further down the rabbit hole. Maybe it appreciates, maybe it doesn't. They're not investment advice, but that's thing one. Things, if you want to go a level further than that, so my aunts and uncles in the States had a brilliant approach with their kids when they were much younger. They said, this was in the 80s, right? Or in the 90s. So this was a case where crypto didn't exist, but they said, give me the name of 3 companies. Which stocks do you want to buy? And they said, oh, I don't know. We like McDonald's because we go there and the food's tasty. We like Coca-Cola because it's delicious and sugary and wonderful and we're kids. And we like Microsoft because we all have computers. And so in the 90s, the family gave the kids $100 worth of those 3 stocks. And now, and over time, that's actually done really well for them. But it's forced them to be interested in those particular companies or in the stock market or in things going up and down. It teaches you some degree of financial literacy. I would ask the same thing of the kids, right? Give them a list of 20 coins. In there, they're probably going to pick the colorful ones, the ones with silly names, and maybe 1 or 2 random ones. And, in 10 years' time, maybe they 10x, maybe they 1,000x, maybe they all go to 0. But at least it gives you a mechanism to look more than just one individual token and get excited about what's in there.
Yeah, for sure. And for kids, TinyTap has a co-publisher NFT. It's not a game, but a co-publisher. So people could head to OpenSea.io /collection tiny courses. This is incredible because as a mom, I totally back this company, but it's co-publisher NFTs that help establish an alternative decentralized education system that basically supports and incentivizes teachers, which trickles down into benefiting the students and learners. And co-publishers NFTs could generate revenue for each co-publisher. So that's one thoughtful gift that I definitely wanted to recommend out there. Now for the ladies, so we want to get something more tailored for our Metaverse man. I highly suggest looking into NBA Top Shop. It's an NFT marketplace that allows you to buy snapshots of NBA highlight moments that your partner will be able to own forever. These moments can be based on a player, specific team, fan interaction, or a play in basketball history. You have about a minute. What are your recommendations for NFT marketplaces?
I mean, there's a whole bunch of different ones, and oftentimes they are blockchain specific, right? So there'll be ones where you can only have Ethereum NFTs, where you can only have Solana NFTs, Polkadot NFTs, et cetera, et cetera. So depending on the blockchain you prefer, you've got different options. I think when you get into the idea of giving tokens to people, it's what does that represent? So if it's digital fashion, that's an interesting one because it's less in the area of I'm buying this because it's going to appreciate in value, but it's more about this is a way for me to express myself digitally with a lower carbon footprint. Right? If I buy 1,000 dresses, first, it's going to be very expensive. Secondly, it's going to take up space. And thirdly, the carbon footprint of each one of those items is really challenging to the overall kind of supply chain and kind of ESG impact of you on the world. Digital fashion presents a very, very different way of looking at that. Yes. Concert tickets, music tickets is also an area where, we're seeing tokenization. Cristiano Ronaldo, if you're a soccer fan, has just launched his NFT collection on one of the well-known exchanges. So if you're a big fan of Cristiano Ronaldo, you can go check that out, own a piece of history from Cristiano. Yes. You could have NFTs that represent assets or skins within games. So I know Phantom Galaxies is one that Animoca has, Steppen shoes. You can go a step further and even go to the VR headset, right?
So much to talk about. Stand by, but because I just want to wrap the segment up, but you and I are going to speak behind the scenes right here and deliver more cool information in shows to come because we have so much to talk about, you and I. I want to thank you for coming on. Enjoy the holidays. You are fantastic, expert at hand. Thank you for gracing us with so much knowledge.
I appreciate that, Zen. Thank you so much for having me.
Definitely check out Anthony Day. He's on LinkedIn, solely on LinkedIn, so you know it's the real deal, at Anthony JJ Day. That was our Hello Open Metaverse, brought to you by Animoca Brands. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Animoca Brands as a worldwide industry leader in digital, entertainment, blockchain, gamifications, and digital property rights. Animoca Brands plays a key role in the future growth of the metaverse. Ranked by the Financial Times as a high-growth company, Animoca Brands creates a new asset class, GameFi economies, and a more equitable digital framework contributing to the building of the open metaverse. For more information and to become part of the excitement, go to animocabrands.com. That's animocabrands.com.
Welcome back, my beautiful friends. We're chatting with the awesome Anthony Day. Welcome back to the show, my friend.
Hey, Zen, how's it going? You well?
Excellent. All right, let's pick up the conversation here. So you mentioned something that piqued my interest just now. So I want to address it because we talked about what we want for the fellas, but now the fellas, we didn't talk about what the girls want. So what better way to show your woman some love this holiday season than to get her a shopping spree in the metaverse, right? So there are brands like H&M and Bloomingdale's who have digital stores where shoppers can try on clothes virtually and even get physical items sent directly to them, all from the comfort of their own home. Anthony, is fashion funner in the metaverse, and will this really translate to value?
I think the metaverse changes things in a bunch of different ways. What we're talking about with the metaverse is we're talking about virtual, digital, perpetual environments where we can maybe express ourselves even more than we would be able to, or we might be comfortable to in the real world. Or we live in particular parts of the world or cultures or societies where expressing ourselves is difficult because there are different restrictions on our lives, or society dictates that we must behave or act or dress ourselves in a certain different way. In the metaverse, everything's open, right? There are no rules. We can be anonymous. We can express ourselves in terms of how we look, what skins we have on our avatars, what items, what clothing we wear. You know, we can go there and have a lower carbon footprint in terms of being able to have 1,000 different pairs of shoes, 1,000 different hairstyles, 1,000 different dresses, jackets, shirts, whatever you choose. And all it really costs is the effort the artist has to create that, and then whatever cost to call from the server that particular item and then render it. I think this is incredibly powerful for individuals' freedom. I think it allows us to be creative and open up entirely new industries or entirely new vocations for people as metaverse shopping assistants, as digital artists, as avatar artists, anything that's created in this space, even the spaces in which we gather, right? We assume that it has to be a building, and we assume that that building has to be a roof. But the reason we have roofs and doors on buildings is for security and weather, neither of which necessarily are an issue in the metaverse. And so the spaces which we create to convene as families, friends, as communities, even in a municipal sense or in terms of governance, can be incredibly different. And I think that's good news for everybody.
Oh, that's great news. It's fantastic news. And, you know, another foolproof gift, well, we'll piggyback off of the entire conversation here for the crypto enthusiast friends, is a ledger, right? So the hardware wallet that allows you to keep your crypto and NFT safe from these potential hacks that we've been talking about. So for people out there that have never heard of this, think of it as the USB backup device for Web3. It keeps your private keys. Think of those as your credit card PIN number. It keeps them in a secure place and provides full separation from potential smartphone and blockchain transaction hacks. Anthony, what are your recommendations?
So what we've learned from a number of different incidents is that the old adage is not your keys, not your coins, or not your keys, not your crypto. There's variations on this, but ultimately, if you don't control the password to who can move your tokens around, who can move your money, then as a result, that presents a risk. That's not to say that everything has to be self-custodied all of the time, but as is typically the way, if you have everything in one place, right? If you have one ledger device, one USB stick with the passwords and keys for all of your cryptos all of the time, that is a single point of failure, right? If you have multiple ledger devices or multiple hardware wallets, you can have different cryptos or different private keys for proportions of your of your fortune or of your digital assets stored in multiple things. But again, with any of those, if you lose the USB key, that can be a challenge. So there are going to be a number of different solutions where people will offer to custody your keys for you. And if, for whatever reason, those get lost, or if somebody goes insolvent, what's the comeback? I would be asking for a number of these propositions. What happens if the exchange goes down? What happens if there is a bank run?
So which ones do you lean towards? Which ones do you opt for? What are your recommendations?
So if you're not going to self-custody everything all of the time, because either it's an admin burden that's tough for you, I would be finding a digital custodian, or something. It could be a Web3 DeFi protocol, could be an established bank, right? You know, there are a number of fairly well-known high net worth banks that will support individuals to trade, to transact, because they don't want to do it themselves. And that comes with a bank guarantee. Now, that then brings a level of centralization and control back. And not everyone's philosophy is aligned that way. There are going to be some decentralized protocols where keys can be put into multi-signature, that can be stored and fractionalized out into the universe and only brought back in certain moments, that may be digitally more easy to replicate than having the physical device in your hand. Right. Ultimately, you need a balanced risk management approach, because I think having all of your keys and all of your crypto on one single device presents a significant risk.
It feels so counterintuitive. It's counterintuitive. Yeah,
it really is, right? You can have all of your keys on paper.
Yeah.
Right? In some cases, I have a backup of one of my wallets on paper in a safe in my father's house, which I'm not going to tell you where it is.
We're all running to Dublin. We're all running to Dublin.
That is part of my backup, because I know that at least there's a very low likelihood that anyone's going to find that safe.
Right.
And that whenever they get in there, they're not going to know what those words mean. Even less which blockchain it's attributed to. So have a balanced approach, do some reading, you know, and try and figure out how much am I afraid to lose this, and what is the actual risk? If I give it to somebody else, what's the risk that they go insolvent, or that I'm going to be locked out of having those keys? Ultimately, the more you control, the more the onus is on you. But as we've learned from open banking and general financial literacy, that is not a strength of most people. And so that's going to be a difficult hurdle to get over.
Very true. Now, interesting. Last show we had William Rogers, who's a NASCAR driver, and I remember having a backstage conversation with him, and he was talking to me about the motorsport enthusiast. So, fellas, if you're listening out there, Rev Racing Car NFT. So it's a game, Rev Racing. You can, again, OpenSea.io. Pretty cool. Rev Racing Cars allow people to participate in the first ever blockchain racing game, and players could earn SHRED tokens, SHRD token, and Rev token during the gameplay. So it's really interesting. So I want to leave you with one final gift that the whole family can enjoy. You made a reference to it earlier, Anthony, about these VR headsets. So MetaQuest, it's a VR headset by Meta. I can't believe I'm plugging Mark Zuckerberg right now, but yes, MetaQuest, it's a VR headset by Meta where you can experience different worlds, from parties to parks, all virtually, and you can purchase it from their website, meta.com, and they're even offering Black Friday deals and deals well into Christmas holidays. So it's a great gift because it has something for every member of the family. What are your selections for really cool headsets, Anthony?
That's good. I mean, there's a number of different ones out there. Whether it has to be proprietarily tagged to Meta, or I would be looking for those that are more open, that are not particularly tied to one specific ecosystem, right? Because the Metaverse is about open and persistent. So where you have the chance for more integrations, more connections, more apps, frankly, the better. Yeah. And I'm not saying that Meta is going to be, specifically tied to what they're doing, but they're a commercial entity, they're a corporate entity. That's going to be something that's going to be in their priority, right? They've spent a lot of money to develop their ecosystem. It's still early days. I would be looking for the hardware that allows you the biggest spectrum of platforms or blockchains or metaverse environments to go play with, because that allows you to go and experiment more. We're super early, especially in the metaverse space. So the more you can experiment and play around and experience different environments, the better that's going to be for you as somebody exploring the space.
There you go. Well, we are out of time, my dear friend. Thank you so much for coming on. It's been such a pleasure chatting with you.
It's been great talking to you too, Zen. Great questions and good luck with the show.
Thank you, guys. Definitely check out the awesome Anthony Day. He's all over LinkedIn. Anthony JJ Day. That was Hello Open Metaverse, brought to you by Animoca Brands. Now, the holidays are a time to show the people you love the most how much you care about them. Don't let the FTX scam or any other Web3 drama get in the way of that. Instead, utilize everything that we just talked about and pick items that are your favorite and loved items that you can actually translate into something meaningful and valuable, and that you can enjoy the most of all. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Animoca Brands as a worldwide industry leader in digital, entertainment, blockchain, gamifications, and digital property rights. Animoca Brands plays a key role in the future growth of the metaverse. Ranked by the Financial Times as a high-growth company, Animoca Brands creates a new asset class, GameFi economies, and a more equitable digital framework contributing to the building of the open metaverse. For more information and to become part of the excitement, go to animocabrands.com. That's animocabrands.com.
Welcome to Hello Open Metaverse's special edition, brought to you by Animoca Brands. It is our holiday gift guide edition. It has arrived. But the perfect holiday gift guide for your Web3 crazed loved ones isn't as easy as you would think, because all gifts aren't created equal, especially when it comes to blessing your gamer crypto crazed friends. But what present says I love you and I don't think Web3 is a complete sham? Animoca Brands, a leader in digital entertainment, blockchain, and gamification, is working to advance digital property rights and contribute to the establishment of the open metaverse. Now, there's one great ecosystem to start with that is trusted. So here are my top 5 holiday gift ideas by Animoca Brands. Number 1, MotoGP packs for the game MotoGP Ignition. You could head directly to their website. Owning the card, players could enter a competitive multiplayer management game experience. Players could win Rev token as a reward during the management gameplay. All of the MotoGP Ignition NFTs, including both the game assets and collectible cards, are officially licensed and fully ownable. All ownership and scarcity is verified directly on chain. Now, each MotoGP pack includes 3 cards with a chance of receiving common, rare, epic, or legendary grade cards upon opening, with each hotshot collectible having the same appearance rate, and that's extremely proprietary. Now, Tower Battle card, you'll find that in the game Crazy Defense Heroes. Head directly to their website. Tower is associated with a tower defense game, so Crazy Defense Heroes is what we're talking about. Tower will have at least 2 play and earn events every month. Players could earn Tower token, and when they participate into the play and earn ecosystem, it enriches all. Players could use the Tower token to purchase in-game items on Tower Web Store, and they could also earn Tower Hero points when they spend Tower tokens. Tower Hero points are also going to allow players to redeem valuable NFTs. For example, Other Deed NFT from BAYC. Lots of cool stuff there. Agent Zero jacket. You will find that in the game Life Beyond. That is my number 3 choice. Early access is guaranteed to all alpha and beta phases of Life Beyond game. Become an Agent Zero, which is pretty cool. Now, the jacket uses a special technology that is based on molecular resonance principles, and more on this is going to be revealed later with a full backstory. So if you're into all that cool stuff, definitely check that one out. My next one, number 4, as a mom, I definitely have to endorse this, TinyTap. Definitely check them out. TinyTab co-publisher NFT. It's not a game, but it's a co-publisher NFT. And a co-publisher NFT, they help establish alternative decentralized education systems that basically support and incentivize teachers, which trickle down into benefiting the students and learners. It's a great, great gift. The co-publisher NFTs could generate value for each co-publisher, creating wealth for all and within the TinyTap community. Really cool stuff. Then you have Rev Racing Car NFT. That's my 5th choice. You'll find that in the game Rev Racing. Head directly to their website. Rev Racing allows people to participate in the first ever blockchain racing game. So for all you motorsport enthusiasts, you could earn SHRD token and a Rev token during the gameplay. So you'll get properly compensated. There you have it. Those are my 5 choices, brought to you directly by our safest platform, AnimocaBrands.com. Definitely head there for all the action. That was Hello Open Metaverse. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Caldwell Soames Incorporated, investing globally in transformative businesses like Original Digital Corporation, or ODC. ODC develops advanced consumer and commercial fintech solutions such as OG Pay, which will transform the way you manage your money. From sending and receiving money globally for free, paying for goods and services in person and online, pay bills, buy and sell digital currencies, all while earning interest. OG Pay is easy to set up, FDIC insured, and your information is secured. Check out ogpay.com.
Welcome back, my beautiful friends. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. In our newest segment called Travel Treasures, brought to you by Navi, we're featuring the stunning Leanne Locken. She's an international television host, a travel expert, and influencer, and a reality TV star formerly. She was the breakout star of Bravo's Real Housewives of Dallas and TV Land's She's Got the Look. Leanne shares her love for travel, fashion, and healthy lifestyle to over 1 million followers on her Instagram. Today, we're chatting about the best places to explore in 2023, what makes her a travel expert, how she chooses her destinations and her travel plans for the coming year. According to a report titled Engaging Today's Travelers, Travel Trends Looking into 2023, most Americans will travel within the U.S., and that's approximately 75% of us, over the next 6 months. Of the quarter who are planning to travel internationally, the top destinations include continental Europe, Canada, Mexico, the UK, and Ireland. Today, we're chatting about the best places to explore, what makes her a savvy travel expert, and her exciting travel plans ahead. Welcome to the show, Stunner.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on. Congrats on all your success.
Thank you.
Talk to me about what makes you a travel expert and an influencer, and exactly how many destinations have you traveled to date?
Oh my gosh, I would lose count for sure. But honestly, when I left Bravo Network, COVID happened and nobody really wanted to do anything during COVID. So I decided to go ahead and found a travel magazine called Eternal Traveler Magazine on Instagram. And we just started traveling. We went to Costa Rica. We went to Tulum. We went to Greece. We went to London. We went, oh my gosh, 7 days in St. Lucia. Actually, St. Lucia Tourism Board had us come and spend 7 luxurious days at the Windjammer. American Airlines flew us directly into St. Lucia. There was activities every day. So while everyone was at home with a mask living, you know, their own lives, I was out making waves and traveling and trying to show the world that, you don't have to stay home if you don't want to. And these are some amazing places that you can experience. And if you did choose to stay home, experience them through me and my Instagram and everything, and my stories, which were amazing, especially at the volcano mudslide and,
Yeah. Now tell me, why is traveling just so important to you? I mean, I hear the passion in your voice. I hear you getting excited about destinations. Why is it so important to you and your family?
I think you learn something new, not just about yourself, but about the people that you travel with and about the different cultures. Every time that you travel, there's nothing, I don't know why, but every time I get on a plane, I am so inspired. It doesn't matter where I'm going. All of a sudden, my brain just opens its receptors to what is possible today and where I haven't been and what I would still love to go see in 2023. Traveling is exciting, it really is.
Your enthusiasm is infectious. I could feel it radiating through the airwaves of just how excited and passionate you are about this. Now, we're going to get to best places to visit in 2023, but talk to me about upcoming travel plans that you are most excited about for yourself.
Well, currently I've got a trip coming to West Palm Beach in, oh my gosh, 2 days, 1 day. I still need to pack for that one. I'm also a very good late packer now because you travel so much, you get really good at packing at the last minute. But we've got Aruba on our trips for February. We've got the Dominican Republic coming up. I'm really trying to work in Mardi Gras in New Orleans because I've never been, and I really want people to know that it's still safe to go, and this is how to do Mardi Gras in a safe manner and for an adult luxurious trip, you know?
Oh, yeah, because you definitely have to destigmatize a lot of these myths and or overblown media headliners about some of these locations, right?
Yeah.
Now,
you know, it is. It's sad that one media headline can, like, determine whether or not people travel. So
yeah, well, that's the fear mongering that the media does best. We know this play out better than anyone else. You know this.
Oh boy.
Okay, so let's chat. Let's chat the best places to visit in 2023. I'll prompt you. Let's start with New Zealand. So, widely praised, right, for its containment of COVID-19. They held out until just this September of this year to finally eliminate travel restrictions they introduced during the pandemic. So kudos to New Zealand. Needless to say that, you know, they're gearing up for all those foreign visitors anticipated in 2023, especially in the city of Auckland. Talk to me about why New Zealand tops the list.
Okay, so I'm going to geek out just for a second, because if you are a Lord of the Rings fan, hello, you can do the entire Lord of the Rings tour, the Hobbits' homes, and okay, that's me geeking out for a second. But also Auckland has incredible beaches and the views and the hiking. It's just, if you love outdoors, Auckland is amazing. Make sure that if you are going to go, though, you do want to spend at least 7 or 14 days. You don't want to go for like 3 days, because you're not going to get anything done except for what you do on the plane. So you really want to go during that time. And really, summer is the best time to go.
Oh, that's a great tip. Now, it's true that air connectivity with the U.S. has never been stronger between the U.S. and New Zealand. They have nonstop flights currently running from 6 American cities, and it's the world's 4th longest lag. Air New Zealand, nearly 17-hour flagship from New York City, debuted this September. So kudos. So overall, what you're saying is cultural and sporting events, new hotels, improved flight connectivity, thumbs up New Zealand. Okay, let's move on to British Columbia, Canada. So this is a bit of an awkward one. The province of British Columbia, I'm Canadian. I was born in Montreal, but BC is on the West Coast. It's renowned for its pristine natural beauty, from the Rockies to the storm-battered islands of Haida Gwaii, you know, the indigenous property there. What attracts you to this place, and should it be on the list?
It should 1,000,000% be on the list. Number one, if you are in North America, I mean, it's just an easy trip, number one. And number two is, it's absolutely stunning. I mean, if you go to this west coast of Canada, it's the beaches, the greenery, and not to mention the incredible food, art. There's just so much to see. My friends just took a trip to British Columbia and they loved it.
Yeah, the new indigenous-led experiences are connecting travelers to the cultures most closely tied to the land. And there you go. You have that one, new indigenous-led experiences and wilderness lodges. Okay, let's move on to Zamora, Spain. So few know, even in Spain, that Zamora is the city with the most Romanesque architecture in Europe. And it was reason enough for UNESCO, which is United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, to make Zamora a European World Heritage Site for 2023. What do you say to Zamora?
Oh my God, go if you can. Don't miss it. It is, when you say Romanesque, you are under describing this city. It is, it's Zamora. What I love about Zamora is you can walk. Everything is walking. Start your morning at the amazing Bishop's Gate at the top of the mountain. You can see both views of the vast land, and then you turn around and you see views of the city. The cathedrals there are amazing. If you love Romanesque art or architecture, do not miss this city. And the food, good thing you can do all that walking, because the food is divine.
Yeah, I love your energy. And additionally, you know, Leanne, it's proximity to Madrid, 1 hour away, thanks to a new high-speed AV train inaugurated just a year ago. It
Yep.
put this underrated town high on yours and my must-visit list. So definitely Romanesque architecture, but we're understating that. Dazzling lakes and improved access from Madrid. All right, let's move on to the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico. It's an already easy-to-love destination marked by verdant jungle and brilliant waterways. The Yucatan in Mexico's southeastern bounds is poised to be one of the most enticing areas to visit this year. What is your favorite part of this place?
What I love about it is underrated and underexplored. So let everyone else do all the other cities in Mexico, Tulum, Cancun, Cozumel, do all that. But you take time to go visit something that is undervisited, underrated. It's just the most elegant city. Again, true, authentic Mexican cuisine that you can rarely find anywhere else. And you can do it all by foot. I mean, it's just the views, the jungle, as you said. I would definitely say that the Yucatan is worth a trip. I've been to everywhere in Mexico, and I would say Yucatan is probably one of the most underrated places.
Yeah, I agree. I echo your sentiment. So overall here, you design forward boutique hotels amid the region's jungle and waterways. I love it. That's one of my choices. Let's move on to Turks and Caicos. So the exquisite white sands and blue waters of Grace Bay Beach, right? Those have long been the coveted endgame for visitors to Turks and Caicos. Lately, though, a wave of new hotels and developments in more remote parts of the island are changing up the game and what it really means to have an exclusive experience here. Talk to me about Turks and Caicos.
Turks and Caicos. I only have one comment to say about Turks and Caicos, and that is, as long as the winds aren't blowing too hard, go. Because you're right. These brand new boutique-esque hotels are really creating once-in-a-lifetime experiences of walking straight out onto a beach into the crystal blue turquoise waters. There's just nothing like it. If you're looking for a great honeymoon destination or private celebration time, this is it. Turks and Caicos is just absolutely stunning, but everyone knows that. Try to find a place off the beaten path, because I think then your experience level really increases because you are more into the surroundings of what authentic Turks and Caicos is.
Oh, well said. I love it. Well, we are at the end here. This was such a fun segment, fast paced. Very few could keep up. Usually I've been shouted out for talking too fast.
Oh, not with me.
No, not at all. You have kept up, my darling. So anything else you want to add and any kind of piece of advice to our travel enthusiasts out there?
Definitely do your research. Make sure you find out the best time of year to go, because you don't want to go visit Santo Domingo in the middle of hurricane season. Plan your trip. I highly recommend, if you're going to do 7 or 14 days, to get trip insurance, and research, yes. Live vicariously through the travelers on social media. Follow us on Eternal Traveler Magazine. We will tell you all these things, plus little hints and tips on, the best travel pillows, and if you're wearing them the right way or not.
I love all this. And of course, definitely have to head to navi.travel.com, because that's an incredible platform. We really didn't cover the platform too much because it was really about the travel treasures brought to us by Navi. They just want people to understand that traveling is the way of communicating. It's the way we learn. It's food for the soul. And that's what the bottom line is. Separate of all the cool perks that come with traveling, this is one for the heart. So thank you for coming on, my dear friend.
Thank you. I agree. Traveling is about hope and love, and we all need both in our lives.
Oh, we do. Well, thank you so much for coming on. That was our newest travel segment, Travel Treasures, brought to you by Navi, and that was the beautiful, the incredible Leanne Locken. Head directly to her IG page at Leanne Locken. Head to the travel magazine at Eternal Traveler Mag, and definitely head to Navi's newest platform, navi.travel.com. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Revere Securities. Revere is committed to building a relationship of trust in which they work closely with you to help you define your objectives, explore alternatives, and choose the financial and investment strategies that are most appropriate for you. Go to reveresecurities.com.
Well, that's a wrap, my dear friends. We are at the end of our date. Remember to join me right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio, every Saturday night from 9 to 10 p.m. Or you could head to 710WOR.iHeart.com/A Moment of Zen. Also remember that we're now live on Traverse TV, Sundays at 1 p.m. Eastern, YouTube, Sundays at 2 p.m. Eastern, and all episodes of A Moment of Zen are now available on Kathy Ireland's Your Home TV streaming platform. For that, you could head to mox.yourhometv.com. Thank you for listening to A Moment of Zen. It's been an absolute pleasure being your host. Thanks again to all of our sponsors that continue to make this show possible. Remember, happiness is the only thing that multiplies when you share it. Make sure you're tuning back in right here next Saturday night, same time, same place. Have a blessed evening.